Welcome to this week's episode of the Everything Went Black podcast. Bobby Ferry of the Great 16 returns. It's been quite a while since Bobby's been on the show, so we had a lot to talk about. Not the least of which is the great Guides for the Misguided, their brand new record, which was released in February. We also talk about the European tour, gear, tangents, things like that. It's a lot of fun, and Bobby's always a great guest. As you all know, if you're listening to this, that I am part of a larger group of elite content creators known as the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse. Kicking things off every other Monday, we have Horror Wolf 666 brought to us by Brandon Legion. Brandon and I are also bandmates in Abraxas Horn, so check that out as well. Up next on Tuesday, Jackie Smith brings us the greatest extreme metal music in the land with Into the Necrosphere. Wednesday is day one of Double Shots. We've got Everything Went Black, which you're listening to right now, as well as Iblis Manifestations, brought to you by Cheyenne of the great band Trivax. Thursday is also a double shot day, as well as being Necro Thursday, where we get Necromaniacs, hosted by myself, Mike Scandato, and Jeff Kashid. We also get day one of Soul Knox, brought to us by Carl Hikera. Friday, Mike Scandato's brother, John Draper, brings us Spitball Media. Saturday is a day off, so go out, enjoy life, do what you got to do, because on Sunday, Carl returns with day two of Soul Knox. Carl and I are well into our journey into darkness with Darkness Weaves, our exploration of the work of Carl Edward Wagner. If you enjoyed the show, thank you. I appreciate the support. If you want to take that to the next level, join the Everything Went Black Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to the bonus content. For $5 a month, you get all of the bonus content, plus early access to the regular shows. And for $25 a month, you can become a sponsor. How was tour, man? Welcome back from Europe.
It was great. Nice to be out of America for 3 weeks. Um, you know, played a lot of great shows. Played like 20 of them, I think.
Nice.
And it was nice to play to some people, sell some merch, see a bunch of old friends, make a bunch of new friends. Just walk do all the tourist shit that you do in the 3 hours of free time you have. You know, went to one of those ossuaries in the Czech Republic. Went to Salzburg Castle. Just ate a bunch in Italy and hung out and played some rock and didn't wash my clothes the whole time. But nothing as far as like tour challenges or like pulled over or getting hassled by the man or nothing. It was just like strangely so smooth. Um, which, knock on wood, and it gives you a basic gratitude that there's people listening to your music and coming out into a show and buying merch and just, hearing about the nuances or the questions that they have about lyrics or anything. It's all good.
That's
It's all
awesome,
good.
man.
It's everything. It's everything it's supposed to be.
Couple things I want to ask you about. So I don't remember. Has 16 been to Europe before? Have you done other tours over there?
Yeah, that's like the only place that we've actually done what we're supposed to do. Uh, you know, um, yeah, we've probably been over there 6 or 7 times in 15 years. So that's like I said, that's like the only place where we've done what we're supposed to do.
Is now the did you tour with another band on this run, or is it just you guys by yourselves?
This was just us headlining, and uh, just four of us or five of us, a driver in a van. So it just couldn't have got any easier. No sharing backline.
Yeah,
We just rented everything, and definitely into. I played some high watt stuff, and I really like high watt speaker cabinets now. So that's going to set me back financially. Uh, but no, we're lucky that I guess we can do it. Um, you know, um, we sold out of merch in 7 days, and we had 20
that's awesome.
shows.
That's
So we
awesome.
we we timed it right with our new record, and with press and everything, and the new record came out, and we sold the 3 boxes we had, and we were like, holy shit, we're out of merch. So we had to hurry and get more merch. And that's always a good thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we've, like I said, Europe's the only place we've done what we're supposed to do. I can't remember the last time we drove across this country. I mean, we might drive as far as um, Salt Lake City or Idaho, but yeah, we just played the East Coast, but like just for 4 shows in November or during Thanksgiving, I think. But we just played 4 shows and flew in and borrowed our friend's backline and then came home. But yeah, we're not driving across this country as much as we should.
There's really not much in the middle of the country, man. Take it from me. It's like, I mean, there's like,
Uh,
Chicago's cool.
yeah.
Parts of Texas are cool, but it's the Southwest is kind of decent, like Albuquerque and like Phoenix and all that. But like, there's a whole lot of nothing, man, in the middle of the country. I
We've
don't,
got we've gone out to Texas like every other year for something,
yeah.
but we always fly in. Um, yeah, and we go to Seattle a fair amount, and Portland, and the Bay Area, and of course LA and home. But I think it's we should go to Florida. I haven't been to Florida since I was with you. at,
Where
at
do,
Will's Pub. We
oh
played at Will's
shit.
Pub. It was an awesome show. I remember we stayed in that big or near that big wizard in Orlando, the wizard, that statue of a giant wizard that's like almost looks paper mache.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, yeah, in that cheap hotel area. That now I guess those hotels are like straight up squats. But yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, like traveling. Um,
Mhm.
there's certain it's the Red Roof Inn, okay? Has
Yeah,
many
yeah.
has many faces across this
Yep.
country. There's like the Red Roof Inn where it's actually a hotel, right? Where you go in there and it's nice, right? There's the Red Roof Inn motel, okay, which is like usually pretty sketchy. But even within that genre of Red Roof Inn, there's different gradations of sketchiness. There's like the straight up bulletproof glass style Red Roof Inn where the guy kind of like slips you the key like through the slot, And then there's like the one where it has a semblance of civilization where you walk into like the lobby and there's like some bullshit breakfast buffet available in the morning and that kind of stuff. But there, places like you go by a brand name motel, but like down in this, once you hit a certain part of the country, like all bets are off, man. You're like sharing your room with cockroaches and like there's like drug addicts out in the parking lot, and hookers and that sort of thing, man.
I've done it many times. Before COVID, we did a West Coast with Sour Vein, and uh, T Roy is a good time. Um, and we were in like we went from San Francisco to Eugene, Oregon. I think we weren't playing in Eugene, but that was just the drive. And so
Yeah,
we ended up getting a room at like 2 a.m. And I just found one on Kayak or whatever. And we get there, and it's like a total like next to a strip club,
yeah,
and then it's like full of criminal activity, like people smoking speed right out, you know. And we were all, it was one of those tour things that you're just so exhausted, you're like, there's no other hotels, we can't, this is it, so like let's just fucking do this. And then there was like people just sitting in the parking lot in cars, but just fracked out of their mind, just all like
yeah. That
all
that's
all
not.
yeah, we saw a person in a wheelchair dealing drugs, and we're like, awesome. And so we get inside, and the door had been broken down a few times, and they just put like sheet metal over it. and then we just slept on top of the mattresses and just were like, oh, this shit's gonna get stolen. I guarantee you, And then we woke up in the morning, we got 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and we got the hell out. But now, um, even though I was probably, I don't know, 40 something then, so I'm not much older or wiser now. But Marriott, man, Marriott has free breakfast.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, um, I can always have my old man oatmeal, and then the whole tour rolls on, and then hopefully we can make it to some kind of hospitality, so we don't spend a bunch of money on food.
Well, I find that using Priceline used to be the real way to roll, man. Because like I would get up early in the morning at the hotel and I would go on Priceline, and you get like the day of. You book the room the day of, So I'd have coffee, I have like my computer out. I'd look. Well, the next show is like Spokane or whatever, right? And like you find a place that's like a 5 or 4 star or a 4 star hotel for like $75 because they're looking to like fill
Yeah,
the
yeah,
room on that day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a room that might be $250 you'll get for like $80 that day, the day of. And the fine print though is you can't back out once you book the room, the money's spent and you can't like cancel. So I always found like when we were out with Pelican one time and they drove. We met up with them at the hotel at the venue. We were just telling some harrowing story about like staying in this cracked out hotel where like in the middle of the night there's all this activity and it's horrible. And they're like, "You mean you guys book hotels like organically like that? You just like roll up?" I'm like, "Yeah." Have you ever heard of Priceline? So
yeah.
they hipped us to the idea, and ever since then, that's how we pretty much do it, unless there's like a hotel itinerary on the tour.
Our solution is the guitarist is a corporate travel maniac. He's like in the Million Mile Club
Oh shit.
at United. I guess I don't want to tell everybody this, it's business, but man, he's the travel master. And so generally we just kind of like, this is your skill set, you lead here. He figures out, like, even in Europe, we had to go from Munich, and then we did a fly in the tour. We went from Munich to Helsinki and played one gig, and then flew back to Milan and met the van in Italy, where we were going to have a gig in Torino. Not Torino, in Turin. Well, I guess
Oh
it's
yeah,
called
okay.
Torino.
Yeah, Torino in
Yeah.
Italian, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Where our Italian friends, so we want to go to the church where the shroud is,
Yeah,
and
totally.
the our Italian friends were like, "You want to go see the Jesus towel?"
Jesus
So
towel.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, yeah, take me to the Jesus towel. But Alex, the guitarist, man, he's the travel master. He's got to travel for work, and so we just like. Uh, you know we're not above staying with people too. We got friends. Sometimes people have actually a lot of times people are just excellent hosts. It's nice to see old friends.
That gets dicey sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we haven't, as a rule, pretty much eschew doing that these days. Cause like the last time years ago when we stayed with someone, I forgot what state it was in. It was a bad time. It was like the place was real dicey. So unless it's like really, really good friends, like someone who's like I've known for years and I
it's it's
trust.
uh, it's always like people I've known for like 10 years,
Yeah. Okay.
and it's like, we got the space, so it's never I, I've I've never had good luck on the, hey, you guys want to crash at my house at the show.
Yeah.
That always turns into me sleeping on a car bench next to a pit bull,
Yeah.
next to an overflowed toilet, next to a thing of cans. Or I've woken up next to a rat cage before and snakes. That was awesome. Um, but
I've told this story, I think, before, but like one time, like when I was in my former band, Anodyne, we were playing in Norman, Oklahoma, and it was like a house show. And it was the last day that those people that were living at that house were living there. So
So
so it was total destruction at the end of the night. Like it was us and like some other bands played, and then of course, so yeah, you got the deal was we were staying there and all that sort of stuff. So at the end of the night, everyone is like all aggro, kicking windows in and doors and destroying the walls and ripping out toilets and things like that. And like after all the destruction was done at like 4 o'clock in the morning, it's like I was just gonna go to sleep here, man. So like I had my sleeping bag and there was like this like mat, and I slept on it. And in the morning, I realized like, man, I'm a little cold. And I looked down at like some kid with like dreadlocks had pulled my sleeping bag off of me. It was like sleeping at the foot of like the mat that I was sleeping on.
weird,
And I was
weird.
just like, I like woke up, but I was like, I kicked the guy in the head. And I was just like, that was like, that was like an experience, man. It was like real creepy. Like, who knows
That's
what
the
could have happened, man.
the kid with dreadlocks is the meme that is the picture of one of those kids that says, "Can I borrow everything?"
Yeah, totally, dude.
Like a guy with dreadlocks, and he's like, "Can I borrow everything?"
It's got to be guys like that that go on tour with just like a knapsack and no amp, no guitar picks, no strings, like nothing. You
Can
know?
I borrow everything? Yeah, I don't know. There's certain magic to those guys, but it's they're taxing you. Um, you know, I mean, shoot, in Europe, I will definitely sleep in the squats because some of the squats are nicer than the hotels.
Oh, that's a whole different game, man. Over there,
Yeah,
that's like legit, man. Like they have like restaurants and like professional sound and showers. A little, you got to wear your flip flops in the shower for sure. But it's like definitely a completely different game in Europe, man.
it's like a hostel. It's almost yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the Arena Club in Austria and Vienna?
Yeah, that's there. There's multiple venues there, right?
That's
There's like a
crazy. Like when you roll up, there's like raves getting out at
yeah.
like
Mhm.
11 o'clock, and the people are just so tore up in like their bondage gear, but look like they haven't slept in like 3 days. Like hundreds of people walking out, and then you're like, oh. And then you go to the restaurant, the vegan restaurant, like shit's great.
Yeah, dude. It's like the thing is, it's funny about the squats in Europe, and anyone who's listening to this that's European probably realizes that we're Americans and this isn't how
Yeah,
things roll over here. But it's like
no.
you associate squats. Like I associate a squat with like C squat in New York City, which is all about like punk and crust and all
Uh,
that sort of stuff.
I
In like
stayed there.
yeah, you know C squat for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
In Europe, though, the squats are about like just culture and entertainment, man, for
yeah. And
lack of a better term.
there's a certain level of cooperation, but there's a lack of the. I think they've rooted out all the drug abuse and criminal element,
Yeah.
even though it's probably still there. But you know, they
Eh,
also they have the time thing. They've been there since the 70s.
yeah, exactly, man. It's like a whole like
It's a
sort of like
business.
social, political, business,
Yeah,
government thing that they got going on. So like, you think you go to the squat and it's about all kinds of different stuff, not just the show, like the restaurant part's like open. It's like part of the business there. It's like real food cooked by like actual people who know what they're doing.
yeah, yeah. It's America needs them. I don't think the law will let it happen though.
No, no,
Um,
definitely, man. Someone will
you
find
know.
something wrong with that for sure.
Well,
Eli-
I think
E-
didn't they try it? They tried it in Oakland, and that place burnt down, and all those people died. It was like an artist. I don't know if it was a squat, but it was a collective for sure. Um,
yeah, the cards are against us, man, in this country for sure. Especially in this environment that we're living in. Can you imagine if there was like a fund the government provided for the arts? I'm sure Elon Musk would would have like
for musical co-ops for hardcore for punk metal hardcore folk reggae squat and collective
no, that would never fly. I would make the cut, man. No
yeah
way.
yeah and register the tax-free entities what is the 536 or something well it gives me an idea. I'm gonna start it and I'm under an assumed name, of course, under an offshore LLC, but yeah, I'm on that shit.
So the new album is like really dropped at exactly the right time for you guys to head over there. That came out in last month in February.
Yeah, that was just a stroke of luck. We never do a bunch of stuff that we should do with scheduling a release. But it just all happened. We just tend to churn out the material. So if we can churn out the material and make this happen every 2 years, then I'm pretty cool with it. I think that's the timeline that it just kind of happens right now.
I've noticed that you definitely are not at a loss for material for sure. Because every time I mean, you and I stay, we stay in touch pretty much. I used to, especially when I was out on the road a lot more, I'd see you in San Diego, and you're always telling me about ideas for songs, and we got working on these demos, and you're the one who actually turned me on to using Easy Drummer, I think, at some point too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I write a lot. I mean,
yeah,
most of the writing is done on that, but then I like to remove the drums and send them to the drummer
yeah, no,
and just keep the time because I definitely don't want the sound of a guitarist writing drums.
I do exactly what you do, man. Straight up. Like I have all the different loops, and that's how I demo all the material for Tombs and Scorpion Throne and like any of the other projects I'm working on. Um, but I gotta say, like, the new record definitely has like stuff, I expect to hear on there, this like sludgy, like buzz oven kind of, metallic sort of thing. But there's one track on there in particular that it almost has like a Paradise Lost, like typo kind of vibe to it. Uh, it's called Blood Atonement with the keyboard intro.
Yeah, yeah, Blood Atonement Blues. That's about
Blood Atonement Blues. Yeah.
yeah, that's about I mean lyrically it was about Ervil Levine or Ervil Levine, I don't know what his whole name is. He is a Ervil LeBaron, I'm sorry. He was a Mormon kind of cult leader in the 70s and early 80s that had this thing called blood atonement, where some sins are so great you can kill them, and before their blood hits the ground, they'll go to heaven. So he was killing all his rivals in the church and in his family. I had this huge family in Mexico and in Texas and in Utah, and then he was getting other people to do the killing for him. So it was a cult. They call him like the Mormon Manson. And I have an uncle who lives out by Zion, and we were on tour. We went to Salt Lake City, played a great gig, and then we had Thanksgiving at my uncle's in a place called Kanab, Utah. And then I just like started looking into all the history, and like anywhere else, it's built on blood. But I just didn't think that that was so crazy that it was like in 77 this whole thing was going on in 1977, and he had like squads of his kids as like assassins killing his religious rivals. And so that was the kind of vision quest that started the song. It was like I got to write a song about this. And then Alex came up with the music, and then we kind of wanted it. We have all these, how when you're in a band, it's like, hey, this song is the Slayer song.
Yeah.
This
Oh, yeah.
song is and so this one was like, whatever it is, the chorus has to wear sunglasses, meaning it's got
Dude.
like, like, and because you've all heard that thing in pop music, like, does the chorus go to the bank? And you're like, no. But does the chorus have sunglasses on? And we're like, fuck yeah, it does. And so we're like, the chorus has got to have sunglasses. So that's the key of the chorus, the sunglasses chord of like stonery, gothy. And then the verse, I was actually shooting for like a Nick Cave thing, and it just came out like a typo kind of rip off.
Dude. No, I mean, the album's sick. Like the album's awesome, but I'm just picking on the one song. I think that it's like I listened to it and I was like, man, this is really like a different kind of thing for you guys, and it's awesome. I thought.
I mean, that's why we keep doing it to make shit like that that's outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah,
Like
man.
I'm saying, like I know what I can do, I know what I can do, but like that's totally pushing it. There's a few songs on there I think where I'm definitely pushing myself, as a singer and lyricist, and then, you know, musically, we ain't fucking. Plus, it's like, it's a band. It's not a cure for cancer. Don't take it so seriously. This is something that I mean, even for like an older band, um, that's been around a long time, we still practice kind of a lot, like twice a week. So it's like, we're just these, what do they say? Grown-ups need hobbies. And so, that's like we're just built into the muscle of just fucking writing songs and trying to push to an uncomfortable level. And trust me, when I first started doing that song, it didn't sound very good. It took a while. It took a while to get there.
Dude, that's the best though, man. I like really respect that kind of stuff because it's easy to do the same thing over and over again and you know where your comfort zones are and the types of riff you want to write. And especially with singing, man, it's like, you know, especially in extreme metal singing. You don't have you can if you do the bare minimum, you can usually get by, scream a little bit, you got the gruff vocals. But if you want to do something satisfying and that creatively satisfies you, it takes time and effort and attention, man. And I just think it's cool that the song turned out the way it did for you guys.
Yeah, like I said, I think there's a few things on there that were definitely a stretch for me. Um, but we put a lot of work into the record. I mean, I like to think that every record is our best one. I don't, I'm not that, like, if I thought anything I did was great and like my best work's behind me, nah, just kind of all about just keep doing it. Like, just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Um, and like I said, I think at least the last three records have been really different, but this one, um, I think we gelled in a certain way. Uh, Chemistry wise. We also worked with a different engineer. This guy, Alex Jacobelli he's in a band called Negative Blast here in San Diego that are awesome. Like a total, like, I don't know, almost like a modern Black Flag. It's
Oh,
punky.
cool. All right.
It's punky. It's not tuned down. I think it might not be even tuned down to D. It might be in a half step. But just, Les Paul, who's driving, fucking awesome, energetic frontman. He runs a studio called Sunsick Studios, and so we just worked on it over months of let's get the drums right and let's go to him once a week and spend a day once a week and just chill out and make sure that we have enough time in between things to, for one, our satisfaction, but also that we're getting the tones we want. And so we just put it off. So over like 6 or 8 months, that's what we did in between of, playing shows or,
Wow.
going to your job or whatever. And so, but vocally, I think some of those songs are like first or second takes, which kind of makes me like, I should have done like four.
Well, but the one thing that you touched on, which all right, first of all, that's a really really cool way of making an album, man. I think that's awesome. That's like, because a lot of times you got all right, here you guys got 2 weeks, go. You show up, drive somewhere, and you're living. I know like
That's
we used
why
to
that's
go.
I never tell people we're going to record an album, even labels. Because I don't know if it's going to be an album. I'm willing to risk my own money to say, "Whoops, this sucks," and no one will ever hear it. Luckily, it hasn't happened yet.
That's so fucking cool, man. I like that. And you're talking about your singing and the fact that a lot of them were one or first or second takes or whatever. But I mean, probably a lot of that has to do with the fact that you guys rehearse like twice a week, and you're singing these songs and working on the material as well as the older material for shows, probably, I imagine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like any of those wasted takes, you got out in the practice space. You know what I'm trying to say?
That, and you have the quality control, the rest of the band. Nothing's a one man show. Like you gotta create buy-in. Everybody's got to be down for what you're doing for you guys to be good. You know.
That's a good point, man. Seriously,
So I think it goes through the friend editor, the of oh my God, tell me if this sucks. kind of shit. And then also like, like if this is good, maybe be good here. I think it's being open myself. And also I think that's a big part of it. But I could have done a few more takes in the studio.
Yeah, dude, that's the hardest. Doing vocals in the studio is really the part that I dread the most as well. Just you're so exposed and you hate, every no singer loves his voice. You know what I mean? It's not like you're listening back to the takes with like your vocals like pushed above everything else
Oh my
and you're
God.
like, oh yeah, I'm sick, man. This is the best. It's like
He's like,
so
check me out. You hear that voice? You hear that voice cracking? You hear me croaking like a frog on that part? Yeah,
it's
that's good. Hey, well,
like,
everybody want to look at me some more? Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes I know I used to when I first started singing, I would, because I sing and play guitar, I would always hold the guitar but not play it. And then I'm like, what am I, fucking Bono? Like Bono does that. Like he hold a guitar the whole time and never play it, but he'll sing. And so I had to stop doing that shit. Wear the guitar like John Bon Jovi on your
Oh hell
back,
yeah, man.
on
Living
your
on a
back, and
prayer.
then hold the microphone. Yeah, and then just never take it off your back. Yeah, singing, you're just exposed.
Well, actually, that's the other thing too. It's like I've gotten used to you being the singer in the band, but like obviously 16 started out where you just playing guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
So how many years has it been that you've been doing vocals? It's been a few years now, right?
Probably like five
Yeah.
before, or maybe six.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
'Cause
five years for sure. Five
I
years for
remember
sure.
I remember when that change happened, and I was like, "Oh, that's something."
I just kind of like we had this really good festival gig in Mexico City, one of those Doom Fest things. It was like with and Ra, The Obsessed, and it was, it's a big place. And I'm like, we're not missing that. I'm doing it. I don't care. And so my first gig singing was basically that in front of like 900 people. Uh, and I fucking did it. We had like one show to nobody at a local venue called Till Two Club just to make sure I could do it. But ever since, I think I've gotten a lot better, and I actually really I like it because I was there's only so many amps I can buy and pedals. It's really just getting stupid. I'm literally making one sound out of the guitar, one tone out of the guitar for my whole career. So I needed to do something else.
Have you speaking of amps, have you heard of the Omega brand, the brand Omega?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so. At this point, um, I'm like I can't have any more.
Dude, I'm the same. It's like there's this our guy that does all of our tech stuff for guitar setups and everything. Like he also works for Will Putney, the
Oh, okay, the
producer.
producer. Yeah, yeah.
He's like, he's in part of his like crew. Um, so I brought a couple of my guitars over to get set up. Changing the weather out here, intonation gets all jacked. So he has one of these amps. Like he saw me eyeballing it, and it was like all black. Everything's black on it, and there's like a black Omega symbol on it. And I was like,
Yeah.
he's like,
Perfect.
I see you looking at that. I'm like, yeah, man, it's fucking got my name all over it, man. And he's like, yeah, they're like 4 grand though. They make
I
them to
know.
order.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. And at this point I I use an orange or a 5150, or I use both, but I've been on the dark side. I have the fractal gear.
I have
I
one
have
too, man, especially
the
going to Europe, probably, right?
Oh my God, the fractal into a tube power amp is the sound I need.
Yeah.
So, like you can any tube head has a effects loop usually, and they work half the time, I should say. But my favorite is the orange. I have an orange TH100, which is just like three knobs, but I don't use the preamp. I just use the power amp, which is you know, um EL34s, 100 watt, and then I use the Fractal as a preamp, and it's just sounds fantastic. Like it feeds back, it feels. I
Yeah.
know, like, but I mean, lately I've been playing my tube heads too, and there's air that tube heads push. So if I was the only guitarist in a band, I definitely wouldn't use an amp modeler because every time I see a band that just uses modelers, they're lacking. They're totally lacking.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, like, and then you see any metal band gets up there with Marshalls or Mesa Boogies or 5150s, and you're like, something happened to the air that was being pushed in the room. Like it's just so much better, even though the playing, might be amazing. It's just, I don't know. I like people say like, oh, it's exactly the same, but
No.
there's a feel and there's some frequencies, and I'm sure smarter people than me can explain it, but that's why I do use it live, but only in the preamp. And then Alex uses, like, he's got an Angle, the Richie Blackmore Angle, which is an
Yeah.
awesome amp. And then he's got this 70s Laney AOR that is
Dude,
really just fan fucking tastic. We just got it rebuilt, and like all went through and retubed and rebiased, and it sounds like a heavier JCM 800. He puts a boost on it, and it's like it just pushes so much air. It really doesn't matter what I play because I'm only here for the top end and to scream at things, you know?
I've always wanted, I had an 800 back in the 90s, and it was like the one with the preamp of the, I'm sorry, with the master volume on it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's a million different flavors. So that's like the most modded amp there is. But it was around the time where the rectifier came out. So I sold the 800 to buy a rectifier, and I still have the rectifier. But I've always wanted one of those. Angle is on my list of amps to get at some point in my life. But right now I'm all about the EVH 5150. Like that one seems to cover all the bases for me right now.
We have like three of those.
Yeah. I mean, we in our
That's
in our practice space, we have every single one that was ever. We've got like all the different eras of the 5150. I also have a PV 5150. I got the EVH. We got a 6505. We have a full PV warehouse in our practice space.
Same with us. I got one of those 6534s. It's
Yeah,
the
we don't have that one.
EL34 with the
Yeah,
6505. It's a good amp. It's a little dry, but I still have my amp that I borrowed $600 from the singer in 1993. I believe I got it. One of the first, and it's my own. It's the same amp I've had forever. It's been like on every 16 recording almost, and it's just, it hisses and it has a lot of noise and it has a broken effects loop, so I can't run a noise gate through the effects loop.
yeah.
However, it's just fantastic with nothing. That and any guitar usually sounds great. Um, but yeah, we have that was a block letter one, and then I think we have a signature one too. So
Yeah,
we have both, and then we have the 6534. I'm just learning to really respect the presence controller on that amp.
yeah, yeah.
Like Alex, the guy from the Sunset Studios, showed me that you can turn down the treble and boost the presence,
Yeah.
and it gives you that just rasp that those things have. Like, fuck, man, those amps are so good.
I kind of do that. Like I kind of learned that thing about the presence knob a while ago when I first started playing those PV amps because that it's basically you just kind of the presence is kind of shifting that curve that you use up and down the frequency spectrum. So you can. I like the way it compensates if you turn down the treble on it.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, like I've been using those things for, 30 years, and I just learned it recently. I'm like, oh shit. I was trying to put like a 10 band EQ in front of it, which generally a 10 band EQ in front of any amp, that's kind of like my new thing too. 10 band EQ in front of any amp just makes it awesome. And
Okay.
and I noticed that touring too. You bring a 10 band EQ, man, you can do
Huh.
anything with any amp.
Okay.
It just takes those frequencies out of your guitar and then puts it into the amp, or before it goes to the amp. So if you're getting you got a muddy amp, you can just literally cut out those frequencies. It's
I I also
good times.
started. I also used one of those fractals too. I got the FM3.
Same with me.
I got the turbo one, and it's like the I was real dubious about those things in the beginning, man, because I'm like all about like the same thing, analog gear and all that. And what also didn't help was we toured with a band that was all amp modeler band, and they were like, I don't want to mention any names. They're nice guys, and you know, they're actually a very popular band now. So I'm not gonna blow anyone's spot, but like they sounded real wimpy live, man. And the rest of the bands on the tour were all playing through heads and cabinets and all that sort of stuff. But the setup that you're talking about, and they were not doing that. They weren't going through the power stage of any amps. They were just like going through the PA basically and using
That
monitors.
I'm never a fan of. I've seen so many good bands just yuck. Um, I mean, I recently went and saw fucking Frank Black, the Pixies,
Yeah,
whatever. Um, and it was not good because of that. They didn't have any amps on stage. It was like the fucking opening band blew them away.
yeah,
Sonically, they had no amps on stage. They were going all through the monitors, but vocally it sounded great. And then my wife was like, "It sounded so good," and I was like, I don't even want to pay for my ticket without seeing people play through amps." Sometimes
yeah, yeah,
it was like,
totally.
ick.
But you can't beat it if you're gonna fly somewhere. Like we're playing a show, like this beer festival down in Atlanta next month. So it's like it's gonna put that shit in my bag and carry it on the plane with me, and that's it. You know.
Yeah, I like the that's what I do, man. I have like a photo. I have a quilter. I power it either with a quilter or I do have the Seymour Duncan Power Stage. The Seymour Duncan Power Stage is a little better because of the bass and treble control in the power amp section, so it doesn't have to be totally flat. And
Uh-huh.
then I've found that even though it says don't use the power amp modeler, I usually leave it on. So you can definitely screw with that. I've deep dived into fractal gear for like probably 5 or 6 years now. I freaking love it. What's funny though is so I've gotten the fractal, and then I fall in love with these digital amps, and now I want the real thing.
Yeah.
That's how we got the angle, the angle that Alex bought, the Richie Blackmore angle. I was like, that's the sickest digital amp, and then lo and behold, it gets in the practice space, and that thing fucking rules.
Oh yeah, dude. I've only I
Now I
want
want a
I
Friedman. Now I
yeah,
want a
dude.
Friedman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's there's a model for that too on there. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, they're so good. They're
Yeah.
so
No, the
good.
angle. I've only played angles like at festivals in Europe. Like we never had one as part of our backline as like on a touring backline or anything like that.
Yeah.
And and I've played them in music stores. But I would love that. That's if I can't justify buying any more gear right now. I'm
There's no,
buying
first of all, I have nowhere to put it. And
it. Dude.
and it's like, does it, and then part of me is like, does it really make you that happy? And then I'm like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Like, I have a rehearsal space, and it's like between my work and home, if I'm not working from home. And it's like sometimes like traffic's bad, I just pull over and plug in everything in the room and hopefully get some inspired riffs or just fuck with shit like a amp head. Yeah, like dude, I want one of those angle, I believe it's the Fireball. It's
Yeah.
just
Yep.
a one channel with a built-in noise gate. Yeah, those things are everywhere in Europe. It's funny. The angles are everywhere in Europe
I
because they're
there's
made in Germany.
exactly, yeah, that's the thing,
Mhm.
But they're pricey, but down the line, like I'm looking to buy a house this year. Like I can't be I gotta put mind my P's and Q's
Yeah.
for now, so
Yeah, you can't be spending 4 grand on those stupid fucking heads, man.
totally, man. But but dude, I was just going through like 16 has been a band since 1992.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there was a little break, but pretty much that's quite a fucking career, man.
Use quotes when you say that. You go career.
Well,
Um,
you know what
no,
I'm
no,
saying.
it's quite the it's we're collectible. We're definitely collectible. We got a lot, we got over 27 inches. My whole thing is to just kind of keep like I inherited it after a while, even though I started it. But it's like, you follow whoever has the inspiration. And for the most part, I've always had the inspiration. So I just keep driving it, you know, um, and keep making it happen. But I mean, I liked where we're at now musically. I feel like I'm definitely playing with awesome players that challenge me, but I'm also creating stuff that keeps challenging me and pushing it.
Well, one of the things that I thought sort of set you guys apart from that, like here on the East Coast, we get all those records from the West Coast in the 90s, and a lot of those bands are playing super fast, except for maybe Man is the Bastard or something like that. You know what I mean? And so 16 comes out. I mean, there was Newthrush. There's bands that sort of played slower, but like I initially thought that you guys would be a fast band. Okay. So I listen to them early material, but it's not so much that it's not fast, but there's like a lot of melody though in the music, a lot of the vocal melody and things like that.
I think I came from ignorance and also like being like, coming from like we came from skateboarding. We were skateboarders. We played our first show at a pool that got broken up by the cops. Like there's, we were enmeshed in that culture of kind of like throw yourself down the stairs or throw yourself down the ramp. And I think that kind of did it creatively too. Like I think we were writing albums before we could really play. So, you know, so I think some of that maybe came too soon. I'd be happy if uh we released records later in our career and didn't but the old ones I guess are what they are.
No,
uh,
they're classics, really, in a lot of ways. I consider them classic records from that era, really.
I think we're just like, and also we were just a product of our environment. The bands that were like, there was a pretty magical time, early 90s in Southern California, as far as like what we were collectively seeing. And there was definitely a really good scene in San Diego and LA with Jabberjaw and San Diego with the Casbah. Whatever was going on, like indie rock or hardcore or whatever was kind of floating around, and noise rock, and what would become grunge was all floating around there. So I'm just lucky to be born on that piece of dirt and to, have the experiences.
Yeah, I feel similar, man, because on the East Coast we had similar places and things and all that sort of stuff. And I do my old band played with you guys at the PCH Club. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think Playing Enemy and us were it was part of that jaunt we did with them down the West Coast. And I was like, oh, cool, we're playing with 16. That place was interesting, this PCH Club. And
But it's sketchy.
and
It's
then
sketchy,
like,
man.
yeah, dude. And I remember being terrified of Chris, man, when that guy rolled up. I was like, this guy looks like fucking trouble, man. Yeah, it was a good time though, man.
Yeah, we just keep doing it. I don't know how it keeps rolling along, but every few years I got another record in me, and I like to listen to them uh, until I write a new one, and then that one's dead to me. So,
Yeah, no, I hear you,
you
man.
know,
Question though, I a record came out a couple years ago that I didn't even know came out. So there's this Cadaver Monuments, okay? It's like this
yeah,
four-way split with Nightstick. The
yeah,
band Nightstick was on that.
yeah. That's Totem Cat Records. That guy's super cool. We've known him for 20 years probably, or 15 years. He runs a label out of Paris. He puts out a lot. He puts out like Dope Throne. He puts out a lot of good shit. Black Pyramid, a lot of kind of underground heavy sludge stuff that, um, you know, that, um, and he approached us about doing the 50th release for the label. So those are we did there's a Black Flag cover of beating my head against the wall or whatever it is. That actually turned out really good. Listen for the 5150s on that song. It's not on Spotify, but we're gonna remix part of it and we'll throw it on Spotify. But Totem Cat just does vinyl only and probably Bandcamp or YouTube if anybody wants to listen to those songs. But we like them.
Yeah, I got to find that because I would that you guys and a split with Nightstick, I think is fucking awesome. Like I have always been a big backer of that band, and
I'll send you one. Uh, you
really,
want the vinyl? You want any
yes,
vinyl? You want more vinyl in your life? Because
dude,
I would like less vinyl in my life, so I will
sure,
give it to
dude,
you.
a hundred
Yeah, yeah.
percent, man. Are you into Nightstick at all?
I never heard them in my whole life
Oh
until
my
I heard that
god!
split.
All
But
right,
now
dude.
I like them a lot.
All right, it's
So,
the drummer from Siege is in that band,
oh
right?
shit.
Yeah, see, now this is the thing. It's nice
Yeah,
to have conversations with people. We
I
exchange
know.
information, and it's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
the drummer in Siege was in that band. He started that band like ages ago. And dude, do me a favor tonight, whenever you get free time, look it up on YouTube. There's a lot of cool, bizarre lore surrounding that band.
Well,
You know,
Jesus, I just pulled it up. Seth Putnam was in it, so
yeah, dude.
there's gonna be some stories.
Oh yeah, yeah, big time. The clown, Podoinko, the clown with the clown's name. Like there's a clown that used to play on stage with them. Podoinka the clown. That's it. Yeah.
Oh
I
boy.
I saw Nightstick live once, okay? And Gordon Conrad, who you know,
Yeah.
Relapse, Season of Mist, Earache, master of ceremonies. He once told me that Nightstick was the greatest band he'd ever seen live.
That
And
says
I
a
was
lot
like,
with him too.
that says a lot.
Yeah.
That's a quote. So, and I saw them open for Merzbow and Masana in Boston in like 1995, maybe. Okay, roughly that time frame, and it was like the most uncomfortable thing I think I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, and I've been a fan. They're like these suburban Massachusetts guys. Drummer from Siege, appearances of Seth Putnam on there, that kind of stuff. And the music's good. If you listen to the records, it's solid fucking music, man. They had one record on Relapse and a bunch of other things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, Fistula's on that. Like I said, it was his 50th release. So of course we want to do it. It's a really cool double vinyl. I'll definitely send you one.
dude, I
Um,
would really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. T Text me your current address. I got my new record too.
Yeah,
So
I will send you some stuff too, man. We'll exchange some material. We got a new record coming out later this year, but we're just
actually,
finishing it.
I have two Tombs hoodies that I wear to this day.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. You've given me two. Uh, I don't have it behind me, but I can't wear them to work, but I wear them everywhere else. It's funny though, like my kid is all, hip into fashion, and he's
Uh-huh.
like, "What is that? Is that like some brand or something that I don't know about?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a Hanes Eco sweatshirt with a band on it. It's a it's a high class fashion for $25." Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
But yeah, dude. So thank you very much for coming on.
course.
I'm looking forward to someday seeing you, hopefully this year at some point. I'm sure that once our album's out, we'll be out west at some point doing things. And
When are you getting married exactly?
June, June
Okay.
13th. Yep.
All right. Destination marriage or just at home or not at home
Well,
in town?
what we're doing is we're having a very small legal ceremony, right? Just for family. Um, and then we're having an actual blowout celebration later in the summertime where we're like getting a spot for like 3 days and having friends and stuff come out, and gets legit like catering and craft beer and stuff like that. And
Right
my
on.
my bass player is a minister, so even though we're married, we're still gonna do this like little hokey like thing at the house. So
Yeah, the vows. The
yeah, and
vows.
I'll probably write something that references like Cthulhu or something like that.
Um, you can always get up there with a harp.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, yeah. So
exactly. Maybe we'll like burn some sort of effigy in the backyard. You know.
soak up the evil spirits, do it. All
Yeah.
right, dude.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
I gotta get back to work.
All right,
Thanks.
dude.
Always a pleasure. Tell me when you post it and all that good stuff. I'll spread it out like we
Will
do.
do.
All
All right,
right.
Bobby. Have a good day
Peace.
now. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye.
Take care.